all of my problems are social. Okay, I know the title sounds maybe a little bit absurd, but that is kind of the conclusion and the mindset that I have, I don't know, this past year, maybe, I don't know. Not sure when I started to think like this, but I found this sentence in my brain and I had to somehow make it into a video or something. And yeah, I think I've reached the point where all of my problems are social, right? I can't solve like real problems, like the problems that are not social, right? For example, a math equation or an engineering problem of some kind, of some real object, even though those, like if it gets big enough, it starts also being social. But many of those, right, because I find that the extent to which I want to solve real problems ends up like getting the social barrier too soon, right? For example, first example that I thought of, job. Well, I'm going to hide these small ones. Job, social thing, right? Job is like the most social thing, I guess, right? And the best way to get a job is always through some kind of social network, right? It's like, okay, oh, your dad knows that person and blah, blah, blah. Boom. You have a job. It's like that's how most people have jobs, I guess, right? Or applying on like LinkedIn or whatever the fuck, right? But that's like the worst version of it, right? The good version is like, oh, you know someone who knows someone, blah, blah, blah. Right? References are always a thing, right? Do you have references, right? That's social, right? So it's like it always comes down to social things. And then it's like sometimes it is a skill issue, right? Maybe, right? It's like, yeah, for some jobs, for some roles, it's like it is actually a skill issue, right? If you are not a good software engineer, blah, 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 you cannot be a software engineer. Actually, you probably can if you have good social abilities, but if you don't, it's still not over. But what's the best way to learn skills? Socially, right? Software engineering may be a different thing, right? But the problem is that the extent to which I want to solve problems, for example, software engineering problems, usually gets bottlenecked by social reality, right? For example, I don't want to make a notes app for myself, right? They already exist. Like the notes app already exists, right? There are already notes app out there. Why the fuck would I want to make the 78,000th notes app? They are already there, right? To learn, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I get it. But if you learn better when you're building shit for other people who need it, right? Social, again. Then, next thing that I wanted to complain about in this case, life goals, right? I have 2 life goals that are, I don't know, that I have articulated, I guess, publicly. 1, my car museum goal, right? Having a car museum is, I guess, a monetary goal in a sense, right? But what is money, right? It connects to the social thing about, right? Job. You can't have money if you don't have a job or if you don't have market value. Market value is actually just a proxy to talk about social things in reality, right? In reality, there is such thing as the market, but like we all know, not really, right? We all know that in reality, the market is not such a thing and that it's basically people knowing each other, right? And doing deals between each other like covertly, because that is basically how shit works, right? There is some free market component, blah, 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 but in the end, it's like if you know the right people, you can get to money quicker, right? That's basically the whole thing, the whole point about networking, blah, 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 right? Then, another goals, YouTube. I have some YouTube goals, right? Or, things that I want to aim at, I guess. But one of them, traveling, right? I want to make videos about the list of places that I have. Okay, Codol sitios. This is the list of places that I have. And, it's pretty long. It's like 8,000 words, you can see down there. But, okay, so those are the places that I want to go, long list. The problem is that I always miss, like, there are a couple of places that are not explicitly listed because the thing that I miss is like someone, right? It's a social place, right? It's a social problem. It's someone who knows more about that reality than me, than the one I could discover just by going, right? That is kind of how my travel is motivated in my mind, right? Then I have like another goal of making videos about licenses, me getting licenses of shit, right? That sounds pretty not social, right? The problem is that I need independence, right? And independence is related to money, aka social, when you tie it back to the job part above, or to the relationships part below, right? Independence is also like a thing that comes with having relationships that are independent or whatever, right? And yeah, in relationships here, I typed family, friends, romance, whatever. And yeah, for example, family, that is what I tied to the independence part, right? I don't know. It's a longer problem that I want to articulate in this 10-minute video or 7-minute video, but still, there are like, it is like there are social problems within the family, obviously, right? And especially when it relates to independence and all that, right? Trust, blah, blah, blah. Then, friends. Also, I feel like there are like, it's a social problem, right? I don't feel like it's a big problem or whatever, but there are like social things that stop you from doing certain things and that prevent you from doing others, blah, 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 right? The classic, what would your friends think about that? What would your friends think about this? Blah, 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 right? Same with the family thing, right? What would your family think about that? What would your family think about that? Those things are social problems, right? And then romance or whatever, it's like the most social problem of all. I'm not going to say a lot more about that, but that in that case, I would classify it as a problem. But yeah, basically for every problem that I think, every real problem that I think, right? For example, getting a license is a real problem. Traveling to a place is a real logistical problem, right? I always kind of find the fucking social bottleneck in every other fucking place, right? Jobs. Getting a software engineering job. It's like, that seems, okay, you just have to learn software engineering, blah, 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 right? It's like, okay, that turns out that it's much better to learn software engineering in community where you have blah, 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 right? What community? Social problem. Everything is a fucking social problem. And so, to this video, sorry, I don't have any solutions or whatever. I'm just complaining here. Sorry, bye.